Welcome back to another episode of Let's Play 1001 Games. I'm your host, Gaming Jay, and today we're hopping into the iconic game known as Populous. Iconic, and also one I have no idea how to play. It will be interesting to fumble our way through this one together here. Now, I do know that this is one of the, in fact, perhaps the original God game. We are playing it on a good old Amiga emulator here. It's a little choppy, but I think it's loading. We'll see how this goes. We might have to change systems if it doesn't work all that well. But I know that I'm pretty sure this game came out on Amiga iconically first, and so I did want to at least try and start with the Amiga. But definitely what is happening here? Lag. Oh, well, it gives me time to talk. Populous here is by... oh god, I'm blanking on the guy's name now. Hold on, he wrote the foreword to the 1001 Games book. Peter Molyneux, that's it. In fact, I didn't even open the book yet. It just came to me. Peter Molyneux. He is known for being a very sort of creative game developer, where he just sort of like comes up with really unique novel games, and he's really fascinated with the God game genre. Yeah, actually, you know what? What does he say about this 1001 quest? Since we're on the topic of Peter Molyneux, if you do open up the 1001 Games book and you do read, it's like 2 pages, but let me see if I can summarize it here briefly. When I was invited to contribute the foreword to this book, I didn't hesitate in saying yes, not only because it is the work of some of the brightest talents in the field of game writing, but it's a celebration of what I believe is the world's most engaging form of entertainment. Video games have been my favorite way to pass time since I saw a dedicated Pong console among the toasters and TVs in an electronics retailer way back in the 1970s. He goes on about Pong for a while. He talks about how he was interested in gaming. He went to the cinema in the 80s and in the arcades. He kind of goes on and on. Oh, when I was presented with this 1001 Games, I was pleased to see among them many of my personal favorites from across the years. Games like Ultima, Dungeon Master, Dune 2, Command & Conquer, Super Mario 64, Tomb Raider, Ico, Eternal Darkness, Metal Gear Solid, Half-Life, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Halo, and Uncharted 2. I feel like I agree with him with many of those choices. There's a few where, you know, I might have swapped The Legend of Zelda with maybe Link to the Past or something, but other than that, there's pretty good list there. Age hasn't been kind to some of the older entries within the pages, but even the clunkiest looking examples contain themes or ideas that have been important within the context of gaming's evolution. And to anyone with a serious interest in the medium, the list as a whole provides a fascinating illustration of the progress games have made. You know, that is fair. We have, you know, definitely sort of taken the list to task sometimes when it's, you know, included yet another Street Fighter sequel. We're playing like our 4th or 5th iteration of the game. Or when it's included games that we look at and we're like, should this have been included in a 1001 list of iconic games? But I think what you can say is, regardless of some of those personal choices that we might decide to change were we to make the list today, it is true that the book does give you a look at the evolution of gaming. And so, in a way, I mean, at least that part of the book certainly worked out. He says you can look at this book as a catalog of games you must play before you die, but you can, which is how I looked at it, obviously. We can also look at it as an illustration of social and cultural change in our world. There was a world before games, and a very different world after games. That is true. Games have had such a profound effect on the pop culture, and like before video games, people just spent their spare time differently, you know? Like games have gone mainstream, really, you know? Blah, 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 blah. The world has changed by a degree I couldn't have imagined when I first returned home with my Pong console. To the point that nowadays, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what your age or gender, you cannot say that video games aren't for you. There are certainly plenty of examples for everyone within the 1001 collected here. Hopefully, you'll be inspired by them as I have throughout my gaming life. It's pretty funny, actually, reading that, because for those of you who do follow my channel know, I not only play games, but I've in the past dabbled in creating them, and I am in the process of creating my own mech game, so I guess games have inspired me to take the leap from player to maker. Anyway, this credits has been rolling in the background. Oh, you can actually skip that. All right, we just did. Okay, let's just try and do a conquest. I know this is going to go poorly, but the main idea of our channel is to just play and have fun. Maybe I will pause and we'll look up a manual if I really can't figure it out. But Populous is one of those games I knew of ever since I was a kid. I think I even tried it at one point and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like a 40-year-old dude now. If I can't oh God, look at the controls. I was about to say, if I can't figure this out, there might be something wrong with me. But anyway, let's just give it a shot. Let's have some fun with Populous here today. Don't judge the gameplay. Don't click dislike if I'm terrible at this. You know, just don't do it. And everything will be okay. Okay, the World to Conquer Genesis. Battle number is 0. World landscape is grass plains. His reactions are very slow. His rating is very poor. I hope that's the other guy. Could be me. The land built on people. Their swamps are bottomless. The water is fatal. You have a population of 3. Him. It's very ominous, just him. Who is he? Population of 3. Okay. Let's just go ahead and agree to that. Whatever we just agreed to. Now. Alright, so here's our little world. One thing that I've always found weird about Populous is how limiting the view is. Because I think I remember even this was on like the NES. It has this like very small limited view window. But I mean, I guess it is cool that it's sort of like 3D terrain. Okay, like I like how there's a phone here. Is this phone a friend? I think we definitely have to at least glance at the manual. I don't even know how to bring up a menu to like pause the game. Oh, I'm building a mountain. Not trying to do this. I'm just gonna look at a manual. Hopefully nothing bad happens. Alright, so I found a manual here on the good old Internet Archive. Archive.org. If you haven't visited it before, it has tons of retro games you can just play, and it's really easy, and it has these cool like PDFs of game manuals and all sorts of stuff. Okay, loading the game. We've made it that far. Mission 1 accomplished. This shows you the entire world you're trying to conquer. I know this game is a lot like Black and White, and I think I played Black and White on my channel, and I had played it years before. And Black and White, as fun as it was, I could never pass a single level in that game. I just couldn't figure it out. It just sort of seemed like you lacked enough direct control. Like, I'm all for God games, but I like Dune 2 or Command and Conquer, where I can click on a guy and say, go attack this guy. Whereas in Black and White, it was a lot like, get the villagers to worship you and like you, and then, you know, they'll start to develop animosity towards the other islanders, and then they might slowly send out expeditions. It's like, holy Jesus, can I just click on a guy and tell him to go somewhere? You know, a lot of people can play that game. I literally couldn't play it. It was very weird. No matter how much time I spent with it, couldn't pass a single level. Couldn't get another village to come under my control. I just, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm just that dense. Anyway, the mana bar shows your divine interventions. Excuse me, I'm yawning here. This is an area of the world you can directly influence. Shield can give you specific information on the good and evil populations. Oh my god, maybe we should have selected tutorial. The problem with selecting tutorial is that's all we're going to do in the video, and I feel like that's kind of boring for you guys. So I have a choice. Do I do the tutorial? I guess I could have done the tutorial off stream. My own fault. But you know, there's only so many hours in a day. When you set off to play 1001 games, sometimes you find very complicated games. You just know you're never going to figure them out. Quadrant 1, Quadrant 2. Like, I don't even know if I would have the patience to figure this out off stream myself. This shows you the side of information is in, Ankh is good, Skull is evil. This is very Black and White. The game Black and White is very, very similar to Black and White. Swamp Night. Oh, we can influence behavior. Go to Papal Magnet. I don't even know what the objective is. Like, I can influence their behavior to do what? Does it tell me? Place a good walker, place an evil walker, place a tree. Oh, dear God. Dear God. I have an idea. I wonder if on the NES this makes more sense. The NES had a way of taking these complicated games and look at the Q&A section. Look how many Qs. A lot of Qs. A lot of Qs. There's like 4 pages of Q&A. It's at the back of this thing. That's it. You know what's funny? Nothing happened on our island. We were totally fine. Let's see here. Okay, so let's... Okay, this tells everyone to come to our magnet, right? Okay, everyone did. Like, why is this icon is in 2 different places? Does this send everyone to war? Man, this is so complicated. Okay, you know what? You win, game. If I can figure out how to get to the main menu, I will go to a tutorial. I'm just gonna click all the buttons. The funny thing is, no button seems to do anything. I mean, they're clearly doing things, but is this it? Question. Help me. Help your god. Your god is confused. Oh, here we go. We found it. Game setup. Surrender this game. Oh, wait, it didn't work. Surrender this game. It's literally not letting me surrender the game. Because I have this shield icon, isn't it? How did I get it? I don't even really remember. Oh, there we go. Okay. Game setup. Game options. Okay. Surrender this game. Not letting me quit. Move to the next map. That's not working. Or is it? I don't even know what's going on. Alright, we're going to the NES. I lied, actually. We're going to stay with the Amiga. We'll try out this tutorial thing. You know what I wish somebody would invent is a really, really easy Amiga emulator. So I'm using an Amiga emulator right now, and it's fine. I did have to figure stuff out over the years, but I mean, the load times are like insane. Like, you're watching in real time how long it takes to go from a title screen to actually something, and it's just crazy. And I think the Amiga did have long load times. Actually, that was very reasonable. Usually it's much longer than that. But I almost feel like the Amiga, there's so many good games on it, but it's like, it's a little harder to emulate. You know, something like Nintendo or Super Nintendo is like dead easy to emulate. The emulators are so user-friendly these days. I feel like Amiga is just a little behind the times, a little harder to emulate, and we're in a tutorial and I don't know what to do. I've never had this happen before. Do I like not have the sound turned on or something like that? There's a bunch of guys just hanging around. Oh wait, maybe the Zeds were pausing it? I'm trying to be quiet to listen in case it's saying something. I don't hear anything. Alright, well, we can just scroll around this interesting, lovely landscape. I mean, the landscape is cool. I'll give you that. It's a neat looking game. No idea what to do. What does that do? Is that like go drown yourselves? Hey, you. Okay, so I know you can like build up and build down. By the way, I don't know what the point of building mountains or gullies really is. Seems to be the extent of my godlike powers is building a hill. How high can we make this? Let's make Mega Hill. Behold! I have made a hill. You will fear my wrath, the wrath of the hill gods. And now I've grown tired of this hill, and I shall make the valley to end all valleys. Live in a ditch, you fools. Oh look, and like dig it. Oh, like I made a house. Oops. I'm so tempted to scroll with the middle mouse button, you know, like modern controls, but that doesn't do anything. So, yeah, okay. I guess I will just go check quickly to see if this is on something like the NES, because maybe it'd be easier to play. Or maybe even Super Nintendo? It's on Super Nintendo, right? Alright, it is on Super Nintendo, which is good news for me, because, I don't know, I was just saying how easy it is to emulate Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and it's nice to have games that are easy to emulate. I don't think my controller is set up here. Timeout. Alright, Populous. Let's do this. Alright, this looks familiar. Tutorial. Teach me the ways, O God of gods. Alright. Looks similar to what we saw before. This is the tutorial, right? Is somebody gonna speak to me or say something? You know, it's funny for a game that seemed to require the mouse, this is actually not too bad a control scheme. So you can like select everything down here. And then you can like, I guess, click on things. I don't know, nothing seems to be doing anything. Let's see here. Okay, can I unpause it? There. World is active. Can build back to hills and valleys. What do you do in this game? The tutorials won't tell you. They're just another level. Oh god. You know what? I would have to literally go and watch like a YouTube video, I think. I think that's the best way to learn Populous these days. Okay, now I'm just more curious. What is this game about? I'm pretty sure I know the gist of it. It's like you kind of have to like be a god and teach villagers to like smite their enemies or whatever. I think you take over an island, something like that. There was an opponent in the in setting up the match, but other than that, it's all a little vague. It's all a little vague. Peter Molyneux. I'm trying to think. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna look up at this stage. At this stage is as far as we're getting with the game. So what do you guys think of Populous? In fact, if you know how to play Populous, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I'll come back and do like a second shot video. You know, I have talked about that over the years. There's a handful of games where when I go to play them, either I miss something super obvious or I just don't get it, and then people drop comments. Or sometimes I just look back on the video and I'm like, oh, that's what I was supposed to do. And so there are a handful of games where I'm like, man, I should like legit go give those a second shot someday. And I busted that guy's house up. I could see this game being one of them because, again, big, iconic, important, influential. I definitely heard of Populous. I tried to play it back in the day, and it went about as well as it's going right now, which, as you can see, is awful, which is, I think, why I just never bothered to come back or play it. When Black and White came out, I really did enjoy Black and White, and I feel like it is the kind of game Populous is. But at the same time, you know, Peter Molyneux would help if your games weren't so goddamn cryptic. I get you're trying to go for this grand, you know, godlike experience, but for the love of God, no pun intended, us mortals need some help. Okay, let's go look at what Peter Molyneux has done with his life here. Peter Fitzgibbon Molyneux. His middle name is actually Douglas. He's an English video game designer and programmer. He created the God games Populous. Oh, Dungeon Keeper is actually quite good. I really do like Dungeon Keeper. Black and White, again, liked it, but just was never good at it. Theme Park was good, but also a little cryptic, but that one was actually quite good. Oh, and the Fable series, which I do like as well. Curiosity, what's inside the cube? The game was later renamed to avoid confusion with the Mars rover. Interesting. Goddess is a video game developed by the independent company 22 Cans. The company launched... For some reason I thought he did Spore as well. Okay, so I will say Populous. I know it's iconic. I know it's a big deal. Please, in the comments, talk about it. Fill me in on all the gaps and all that. But as a game, I don't know how to play it. So, I mean, we got as far as we could. Dungeon Keeper, good game. Quite like that one. Black and White, love the concept, bad at it. Theme Park, pretty good game. Fable, quite a good game. So, I'd say he's... I mean, certainly the guy's really smart, and he's made lots of iconic games back in the early days of gaming. So, I mean, they're all hits in some respect. But I'd say, in my personal opinion, in terms of games I actually like, some are more functional hits than others. I'm just looking to see if anything else stands out. Nothing much. Fable. Oh, the movies. We played that one too, and I quite like that one. Yeah, he does a lot of these like God Game Simulator things. What's Project Milo? Formerly a secretive project under the codename Dimitri. Looks like you're watching a TV show of a little boy. Which doesn't interest me. Doesn't pique my interest. Oh, he did Syndicate, which I think I liked as well. Yes, he's got good games in here. Anyway, what do you guys think of Peter Molyneux's accomplishments? Are they pathetic or are they godlike? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed my pathetic attempt to play Populous. If you did have fun with today's video, go ahead and like the video. Remember, you guys promised you wouldn't dislike it, no matter how bad I was at the game. So you can't go back on that now. I don't want to see any dislikes on this video. I will be... Well, I don't think I'll be mad at all. Dislike the video. Do whatever you want. Guys... I will catch you soon in the next video for a game I promise I will know how to play. And maybe one day we'll come back and we'll do a second shot of Populous here. Once you guys teach me how to play in the comments. It's been real, folks. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.